Hi, I'm Dan and welcome to this week's Elements Developer Diary. Now last week we looked at scroll animations, and at the end of that video we also talked about some of the things that you guys need to finish building your websites with Elements. And we talked about how we're going to prioritize those things. And the good news is we have started working on those blockers for your website. So that layering issues you had, we're working on that to fix that, and we've implemented something in the Elements language which will allow us to fix those layering issues of the galleries and the modal dialog boxes. Now we haven't implemented those in the custom in our components yet because we're overhauling the components. We're doing some massive updates there. Again, based on your feedback, we are going to, we are reorganizing the components and making them more consistent and really leaning into Tailwind and those utility classes. So we've got some great updates coming on those. I've got nothing to show you on that this week, but in the coming weeks, we'll go through it all and it's really good stuff. Now, I don't have any updates on the text editing either. We're working on it, but it's not ready to show you yet. However, this week I want to cover a new feature we call Portal, and this is primarily for the Elements language, and this will be of interest to those of you writing custom components. So if you're not interested in code and you're all about the drag and drop, that's fine. You might want to skip this week's video and wait for next week's video when we'll be back to more of that kind of WYSIWYG draggy drop stuff. So let's dive into this and I'll show you what we've been working on. So I've got this document here, and this is, I was building up a little footer, and I thought it'd be nice to have some icons in there, some social icons. So let's go ahead and preview this. And you can see this looks like a typical standard footer, and we've got some nice little rollovers there on these icons, all built with Tailwind. And I'm using the Ionic Icons library. Now, as I said, these are custom components. And I've got some properties here so I can customize each one. You know, I think instead of that, I can change that to hammer, because these are all pulled from the icon library. There we go. And now it's a hammer. We'll change it back to Twitter. Right, so let's get into this. I've got the code here for these this custom component. It's just a single custom component. And I'm having to pull in these JavaScript files because that's where the icons are and all the code for that and how it works. And that's great, but because I've got 4 of these on the page, what's happening is it's loading the scripts 4 times. Now Portal can help with this. So let me go to the Elements manual, and I'm going to scroll down to the Elements language, and this is under Template and Portal. Now, Portal can be used for a lot of things, and if you're building custom components, this is available now in the beta 14, I think, which is we're releasing today. So you should have that by the time you watch this video, fingers crossed, and you can use this code. So let's, I'm just going to start with this code here, at Portal body start, and let's paste that in, and this will all become clear what this is doing. Let's copy this, and we don't need that. So this portal will take whatever we put in here and transport it to another area on the page. So as you might have glanced in here, we've got page start, page end, head start, head end, body start, body end, and that's great. So now we've set this up. Let's see what happens when we preview this code. Now at the start of the body, we've now got all our scripts. So we're still in the same position. We've still got these 4 icons, and they are still outputting that JS code 4 times. They're just transporting it to another place, which is just after the body start, which we told it to do. But we want to go a step further, and we want to say only use this once. If there's multiple instances of the same custom component, only put this on the page once. So let's go back to our docs, and if we scroll down a bit further, there's a little bit more code here, and we can pass in this argument of include once equals true. So let's take this little snippet on the end here, and let's go back to our custom component. I'm going to paste that in there. So at the start of the body, only include this once. And that doesn't matter how many of these we've got on the page, just do it once. So we go over here, we preview, and this is all working nicely. We look at our body, and now instead of having that 4 times, that code printed out 4 times, we've got it just once, which is really handy because it would suck if I had that code outputting 4 times on my website. It's just more clutter, more rubbish. The other way to do this would have been for me to put it in the page settings up here, but that's a very manual process. And if I shared this custom component, then someone would have to know to copy these scripts and put them in the page settings to only have them appear once. But now you don't need to do that. You can just use this little bit of code to say only include these scripts once. Now, when we were developing this, we thought that's great. That really fixes an issue there of including the scripts multiple times. And we have this with our own components, our own built-in components, where sometimes we're including multiple scripts. And what we really want to say, if you've got, well, it becomes a problem if I have multiple instances of, let me drop this is another custom component. And now I've got this other custom component on here, and say this was also using these scripts. Let me go in here, and this is saying only include this script once as well. But now I've got 2 components using the same scripts here, and if I go and preview, we're in the body, you'll see it now includes it twice, which it would do because they're different components, and it doesn't know, Elements doesn't know, what you've included in here. So that's not great. And this is especially not great if you're building packs of components that all require the same libraries, like ours do. We're using Alpine JS in a lot of our components, and that would be included multiple times for argument's sake. And especially if you're building your own, you might have a few that use the same libraries. Like I might build up these, this Ionic icons library, and I might have a few different styles of it. So to fix this, what we can do, let's go back to the docs, and there's another little argument we can pass in, which is we can set an ID, and this ID will link all these components together. We'll say they're from the same developer. So let's copy this ID, and I'm going to paste that there, and let's call this because this is Ionic. And we're going to need to put this in our other component as well, so that it's using the same ID. And we use a reverse domain name. So here you can see it's com.realmaxsoftware, and then I'm using the Ionic icon, so I'm calling this one Ionic. So now both of these components are including the script once, and we've got the same ID there. So now let's go and preview the page, and when I go to my body start, this is now only being included once because Elements knows, this is the same component and I should only include this once, or this is the same, these are the same scripts up here and I only include them once. So now I've got 2 separate components, both using the same scripts, but it's being smart and only including it once. And so that's when you would use this ID script here. So this will be great if you're building multiple components that are all using the same scripts, then you can use this handy new feature. So that is Portals, and it's really flexible. And I gave a little preview of this during the week, and one of the fastest bits of feedback from you guys people building the custom components was, yeah, but I'm building a PHP component and I need to put something right at the top of the head. And we didn't have that feature. And based on your feedback, we said, yeah, that's great. That's probably people are going to want to do that. So we added 2 more portals, these 2, and we added these based on your feedback. So this will put code right at the top of the page before everything else. And that is really important for a lot of PHP work. So again, with portals, it just adds more flexibility and it will give third-party developers and users more power to do more things with those custom components, and the pre-built components you'll be able to share further down the line. One of the other things we added, I just want to quickly show you before I wrap this video up. There's some other fixes in this build, but we had a request for these custom components, putting them in new documents. The support for that was a little bit iffy. So now, let me do a new project here, and oops, let's make that smaller. So now this wasn't supported before. It was supported to drag components to a new document, but custom components weren't supported. But now I can take this custom component and I can just drop it in a new document, and there it's come over just like that. So if you have a lot of custom components in various projects and you want to kind of tidy things up, you can now do that and just drag them across to new projects. Now, I want to make it clear these are not linked, so any changes I make here are not linked back to the component in here. This is simply duplicating, creating a new copy of it and moving it across. And I think that's important to understand, that these aren't shared. It's not like a global component or app-wide component that's shared between all your projects. I think that would cause absolute havoc, because if I updated it here and I forgot about it in my other projects, it would update it in all those projects, and that's not what I want. So we think the best way is at the moment, is to drag this across and make a copy of it, and so it's its own instance and it's no longer linked to this other document, which makes complete sense, and I hope you agree. So yes, that's it for this week, and we're working on a lot of good stuff here, and I'm looking forward to next week and being able to show you some of the stuff on the components we've been working on and the big changes there, because all of this stuff is from your feedback, and we're really prioritizing this now to try and get Elements pushed through it and get it to a stable 1.0 where you guys can use it full time and publish websites. That's really our goal for this. So yeah, keep the feedback coming, and we'll do our best and keep working hard, and hopefully we'll get to, our aim is to get to a public beta before the end of the year, so everyone can use this and we're in a lot more stable position, and I think we're well on our way now. So, all right, thanks for watching this video as always, and I will see you next week. Cheers, bye.